Hey everyone, Darkseid Temple here again, back with the third video on the Spiritforged cards. So I know we covered a bunch of these cards before, but we're going to go over all the legends, their signature spells, all the battlefields, and then finally finish up with all the overnumbered cards as well. We already covered everything from the commons, uncommons, rares, epics, whatever from the normal runes. So the Fury, Mind, Body, Order, Chaos, and I know I missed one, Calm orders. So now we're just going to take a look at the legends again and the signature spells and then everything else that we missed from the first two videos. So this is part 3 if you're watching it. The other 2 videos cover the rest of the cards. And if you did enjoy the content thus far and these 3 videos and you made it long enough to see all of them, obviously appreciate you so much and thank you so much for watching. And if you did enjoy it, please give me please consider subscribing. It really does help a lot. I'm just trying to grind out this content on the side here. I really love playing this game so far. My fiance can tell you how much I've put into learning the card game, opening packs, and really trying to get out there and play with as many people as I can. And the community thus far has been amazing. I've made so many new friends here playing, and always look forward to my next night that I'm playing. So, without further ado, we'll get into it. And of course, we're starting with what's going to be my personal legend for this new set going forward: Rumble, Mechanized Menace. He is my main in League of Legends. He was my main since he came out. I love him. I always play him top lane, sneak him into the mid lane occasionally, and I'm really excited for him. I'm going to be buying as many decks as I can of him, so stay tuned. If I'm able to get a few extras, might run a giveaway once Spiritforged is coming out to get this out there, because again, this is my favorite. I'm really looking forward to it. I think he's going to be really fun, and stay tuned. I am going to do a overview of what my deck is going to look like right out the gate. So without further ado, Rumble, Mechanized Menace. So pretty simple ability here. Your mechs have shield, so +1 when they're defending. So essentially you're going to want to get as many mechs as you can out onto a battlefield, hold that battlefield, and yeah, just give them mites, and then combine with Blue Rumble, +1 more might onto that, that's +2. Now, if you have 2 Rumbles there, 3 Rumbles, it's going to snowball pretty quickly. So Trifarian War Camp is, my opinion, going to be one of the best battlefields for him. So we'll see with that once that comes out. I don't think any of the new battlefields are that great for him. It might be just running some of the ones that are already out in Spiritforged. Looking at Danger Zone here, the nice thing with the champion decks, so Fiora and Rumble, you will be getting a signature spell as well as 2 copies of their rare and 1 copy of the epic unit in those decks. So you'll get 3 copies of the champion and 1 of their signature spells. I think it's a great change from Origins. So that's why I'm going to want to get 3 of these right away so I can make a really good competitive deck right out the gate. Although Danger Zone, I'll probably only going to be using 2. So it is a 1 energy, 1 power cost. It is a reaction, and it has repeat. And you give your mechs +1 this turn. So you can give them up to +2. Again, with the Rumble Legend, with Blue Rumble, you're going to be getting so much added might to your units, especially if you have 4, 5, 6 mechs out there in a battlefield. You could really turn the tide on that. So if you have a Victor that's coming at you, they throw down a Grand Stratagem, you use this, you repeat, maybe you have a second one in your hand. You're now adding 4 might to all your units for only 4 runes and 4 recycles. Pretty good. Maybe you have a seal out there. Plus, if you have 2 Blue Rumbles and you're defending, you've now surpassed the Grand Stratagem by 1 might. They're not taking it over. Next, we'll look at Lucian Purifier. So your equipment each give assault, so +1 might when equipped to a unit that's attacking. So this is pretty cool. Again, just the passive here. So whenever you give a equipment to a unit, that unit's now going to get assault. It's going to get that 1, so it's basically leaning into Lucian, who wants to be an attacker, and then get out of dodge as quickly as possible. So you want to go in and attack, and then also try and retreat your units. You want to stay on the offensive with him. His signature spell, Relentless Pursuit. 2 energy, 1 power, 0 might. It's an action. Move a friendly unit, and when you move it, you may attach an equipment with the same controller to it. This turn, that unit has, when I conquer, you may move me to base. So essentially, when you play it, you may attach any equipment from another unit to it. Now that unit gets assault, so that +1 might. You go in, you attack, and then you conquer. Again, on par with Lucian, you conquer, now you go back to base, you save that unit, you save that equipment, and you can utilize that assault later on. Next we got Draven, Glorious Executioner. When you win combat, draw 1. Pretty simple ability here. I don't know if it's going to be that meta-defining. Again, in the Fury and Chaos category, Annie right now is a dominant factor in those. And if you're going to want to get Flash, which I think most Chaos decks are going to want, that's getting up there in price. Last I saw was about $55, $60. Pretty crazy considering that the MSRP of Proving Grounds was $30. So for almost 4 times the price, you get 2 cards. Kind of ridiculous. And the cool thing with this set is there's not everyone having a signature spell, as you'll see with Draven here with his Spinning Axe, and with Ornn, there's also signature gear. And you're only able to have one. I know for Ornn, you're only able to have one signature gear. I think for this, you can have multiple. I don't think it has unique, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. So it's 2 energy, 1 power, mighty. That shouldn't say mighty. So this has quick draw. So when you play it, you can attach it to a unit you control right away. You obviously have to pay the equipment cost for any rune, in this case Fury or Chaos. But then it also has temporary. So if this is unattached, kill it at the start of its controller's beginning phase before scoring. So you want this attached to a unit right away. And then it gives a unit +3 might. All right, moving on to Rek'Sai, which I think is going to be one of the best legends coming out of it, just based off of what we've seen cards-wise and its description. So when you conquer, you may exhaust me to reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may play 1, then recycle the rest. So essentially, there's a lot of cards that we've seen that we worked with this that are in the Fury category, where if you draw it, or if you look at the cards and then you see them, you can play them from anywhere other than your hand for free or a reduced cost. So that's where this is going to come in handy from. But also at the same time, like, you're revealing the top 2 cards and you can play one immediately. So pretty strong there. It doesn't say it's a, yeah, it's not a tap, it's not a exhaust the card when this happens. So whenever you're conquering anything, you can do this right away. So if you're conquering 2 battlefields in a turn, you're looking at 6 cards, or 4 cards and playing 2 for free. Next we got Void Rush, 2 energy, 1 power. So we're seeing a theme here, a lot of 2 energy, 1 power, except for Rumbles. Reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may play one of them, reducing its cost by 2. Draw any you did not play this way. So basically, very similar to the Rek'Sai ability, except you don't have to conquer. You're drawing 2, and you can play 1 for a reduced rate, or just draw the 2 in general. Next, going on to Ornn, the Fire Below the Mountain. He has Reaction, and you can add 1 power. So use only to play gear or use gear abilities. So any gear or gear abilities that you have, and we'll see the 3 signature gears that he has. So you add stuff to that. So you could basically equip anything for free, essentially, because you ignore the equip cost by adding this to it. Again, once per turn, because it is an exhausted ability. So as you can see here lined up, we have 3 signature gear for Ornn. This is very thematic to him in game, where he goes and he wants to upgrade 1 item that your teammates have, so he can upgrade up to 5 items a game, including himself. So these items are pulled from that. So this item would be Sunfire Cape, but in terms of Ornn's upgraded, it becomes a Forge Fire Cape. It gets extra abilities, about 1,000 gold per upgrade. So very thematic. I love this idea that he doesn't just have a signature spell, he has signature gear, and it's his upgrades. But this is a 4 energy, 2 power. And again, it's unique, so you can only have 1 of the same card with the name. So you can run all 3 signature spells, but you can't run 3 Forge Fire Capes, which again is nice, because typically when you're playing League, your teammates aren't going to build the same items across all 5 of them. They're going to want something that fits their role quite effectively. So it also has that 1 equip cost, and then when I attack or defend, deal 2 to all enemy units here, and it gives +3 might to the unit. That's crazy. So Sunfire Cape, if you don't know, deals damage in an AoE around the champion when you play League. So this is very thematic to that. So you're dealing 2 damage to all the enemies there. I could see this if Warwick was able to be put into here, working well with Warwick or Nivea. But I think that's really strong. If you come in there, you deal all that damage. Could be really good to use with Thousand-Tailed Watcher as well to try and get through everybody. Next we got Rabadon's Death Crown. Again, 4 energy, 2 power. Still has that unique and 1 equip. Your spells and abilities deal 3 bonus damage while this is attached, and then +3 might. So you have this attached to somebody, your spells right away are dealing that plus damage. So Singularity, going to deal 9 per unit. Really strong, can help you get over those mighty units, those Thousand-Tailed Watchers, those Deathwing Predators if you pay the extra deflect cost, etc. So really, really strong card there. If you're playing a spell heavy orange set, you're going to want obviously this in there. Draw it if you can really right away, top deck it, and get it out there. Seems like orange can be a pretty fun one to do, but where's the balance of gear to units? So could be pretty interesting there. Next we got Shirelia's Requiem. Again, unique and the equip cost. When you play this, ready your units, so that's interesting. Different flavor text than the other ones. And then your units here have ganking, so they can move from battlefield to battlefield, and it gives +2 might. So if you attach this to a unit at a battlefield, now you can ready all your units, and all your units here have ganking, so now they can go over and conquer the other ones. So this might be a great item to play in order to take that game. So say you're at 6 points, you move up, you're going to conquer. You conquer everything. You then play this with it and equip it to a unit. Then they all ready back up, have gank, and you move them over to the other battlefield. You win. Moving along, we got Jax, Grandmaster at Arms. So for 1 energy and exhausting this, you can attach a detached equipment you control to a unit. And if you exhaust it, you can attach an attached equipment you control to a unit you control. So essentially, you're able to move equipment around from unit to unit if they're attached, and if it's a detached equipment, you don't have to pay the recycle rune. So it's essentially, you don't have to recycle the rune when you're moving equipment around or when you're attaching equipment. So quite nice. You're not losing those runes when you're attaching it. So again, going to be playing pretty heavily with the equipment. His signature spell, Counter Strike, which love the artwork there. It's a 2 energy, 1 power with reaction. Choose a unit. The next time that unit would be dealt damage this turn, prevent it, and then draw 1. So pretty nice there. It's going to prevent all damage, save you. So if someone's coming in to attack you, you can prevent that from being dealt, and then you can hold possibly to win the game or something like that. So pretty interesting there. Or if they have something in the past in their base that they can go back in and attack, that would be something else. But I could see this helping you win games pretty effectively. Next we got Irelia Blade Dancer. When you choose a friendly unit, you may exhaust me and pay 1 power to ready it. When you conquer, you may pay 1 to ready me. So essentially, you can pay that rune to ready units, go in, take a battlefield. If you conquer, you can then pay that, exhaust that 1 rune in order to ready your legend again, and then essentially use it again to ready another unit. Maybe you're able to go in and do that. So you play 2 units in your turn. You recycle 1 rune, ready a unit, go in, conquer, pay the 1, ready this again, ready your other unit, and go in. So you could use this to also take 2 battlefields if you have the units in order to do that. Her signature spell, Defiant Dance, 1 energy, 1 power, and its reaction speed. Give a unit +2 this turn, and another unit -2 this turn. So basically a better discipline for half the price. For half the price, and you're doubling the amount of might swing. So really strong there. I could see that in a green deck being over discipline, so really strong. Next we got Azir, Emperor of the Sands. I think this is going to be another strong legend. So your Sand Soldiers have Weapon Masters, so you can attach equipment to them. And then for 1 and exhausting this card, you play a 2 Might Sand Soldier unit token to your base. Use only if you've played an equipment this turn. So very similar to Victor, except it has a prerequisite in order to play it. You have to play an equipment. Again, with Weapon Master, that should be pretty simple. But then exhausting 1 rune and exhausting this, you get Sand Soldiers out there. His signature spell, Arise. This is the most powerful one we've seen so far. 6 energy, 1 power. Play a 2 Might Sand Soldier unit token for each equipment you control, then ready 2 of them. So if you have 4 or 5 equipment out there on the board, you now can summon 4 or 5 Sand Soldiers, and you get to ready 2 of them to use right away. Going to be really strong. Probably going to be a 2 of at least in the deck for Azir, if you're really trying to use those Sand Soldiers to your advantage. A few more here. We got Ezreal, Prodigy Explorer. Prodigal Explorer. Has a exhaust and a reaction. You draw 1, use only if you've chosen enemy units and/or gear twice this turn with spells or unit abilities. So this is going to be really feeding into the spells and units that have abilities that can affect other units or gear. So essentially, once you play those 2 spells in your turn, you exhaust this right away and then draw 1. So a decent draw engine. I think this is going to be a little tough to use, personally. I mean, I know there's a lot of cards now in the set that have good spells and equipment and stuff, but still trying to play 2 in a turn just to draw 1, I think it's a little slow. His signature spell, Arcane Shift. It's an action. You banish a friendly unit, then its owner plays it, ignoring its cost, and you deal 3 to an enemy unit at a battlefield, and then you banish this from the game. That's quite interesting. So say you banish a Thousand-Tailed Washer, you're not going to get the might, but then you deal, then you play it, so then maybe the might reduction goes into play. I don't know for sure. I would assume so because you're playing it. But then you deal 3 to an enemy unit at a battlefield, so it could be a way to swing things. Like if you have a Thousand-Tailed Watcher and you're going against something with a high equipment added might, go in, take the might down by, you reduce the might by 3, you deal 3 damage, maybe you have enough to kill it even if you trade, something like that. 3 more here. We got Renata Glask, the Chem Baroness. When you or an ally hold, you may exhaust me to play a gold gear token exhausted. While your score is within 3 points of victory, your gold add an additional 1 energy. So this is really, really strong. So it's going to want you to get up to as close to 8 as possible, as quickly as possible. So I can see Arena's Greatest being used here. Something else, trying to really get to that point, so your gold, that end state, so your gold can give you more value. But also being able to hold is going to be a little tough, but I think it's possible, especially with Thousand-Tailed Watcher and some of the other big yellow units and stuff. So I can see this really playing well. Again, just trying to get to the 5 points as quickly as possible. Next we got Hostile Takeover. 5 energy, 2 power, with a hidden as well. Take control of an enemy unit at a battlefield. You ready it, so at the start of combat, if other enemies are there, otherwise conquer. Lose control of that unit and recall it at the end of turn, so send it to base. I wonder, when it says send it to base, I would assume that means send it to the original controller's base or the original owner's base. So you take control of that enemy unit at the battlefield, you ready it. If it's at a battlefield already, you would conquer it if there isn't any other enemies, otherwise it starts a showdown. And then at the end of your turn, you lose control of it and recall it to your opponent's base. Next we got Sivir, Battle Mistress, another one just like Renata Glass, who's going to be using gold. When you recycle a rune, you may exhaust me to play a gold gear token exhausted. When 1 or more enemy units die, ready me. So essentially, if you recycle anything, which there's a lot of recycle in Body and Chaos, you can exhaust this, get 1 gold, so you're basically replacing it for the next turn. But then also when you're going in and you're taking those battlefields out, you're getting to be able to ready her. So you can then possibly get 2 or 3 gold gear tokens a turn by exhausting her and then raiding her again. Her signature spell, On the Hunt, 1 energy, 2 power, just ready your units. Pretty simple. If you play 3, 4, 5 units in a turn, you play this, you ready them all, now you're ready to go either take a battlefield over or something. So this could be a way to save the game from ending if you're not able to. If you have no units on your battlefield, you need to take 1 battlefield in order for your opponent not to win the game. You play this, you ready those units that you just played, go in, take the battlefield. Maybe you can hold on and actually win the game from that. And then our last legend here, and also the second starter deck, Fiora, Grand Duelist. When one of your units becomes mighty, you may exhaust me to channel 1 rune exhausted. So again, mighty is plus 5 might or more. Going to be quite easy to get to with the equipment and with all the buffing. So pretty cool legend ability there, and a good accelerator to get those runes out. Riposte, 2 energy, 2 power, has reaction speed. Choose a friendly unit and a spell, counter that spell, and give that unit plus might equal to that spell's energy cost this turn. So say someone's dropping a Void Seeker on you that's 4 power, you're going to counter that spell and then also give that unit plus 4 might this turn. So quite interesting there. love that it fits Fiora quite well with her riposte. So pretty nice spell there. Next we'll go into the battlefields here. Quite a few here as well. Again, looking in terms of Rumble's eyes, I don't really see something that's too crazy. But I haven't really read them too in depth yet. So we got Emperor's Deus. When you conquer here, you may pay 1 energy and return a unit you control here to its owner's hand. If you do, play a 2 Might Sand Soldier unit token here. So basically, quite simple. Exhaust a rune, return a unit that you have. Maybe it has an ability that you can use, that you want to use again when you play it, and then you also get a Sand Soldier with it. So pretty cool there. Going to be, obviously, it's a lot of Azir artwork, and Azir's in the top, so I can see that really going well in the Azir decks. Next we got Forged with the Fluffed, with a nice Poro there. While you control this battlefield, friendly legends have exhaust. Attach an equipment you control to a unit you control. So quite interesting there. You can exhaust your legend and move equipment around. So nothing special, but allows you to move that equipment around pretty effortlessly and not having to pay the cost or anything over and over again. Next we got Forgotten Monument. Players can't score here until their 3rd turn. So essentially this is a dead battlefield until your 3rd turn. Could be quite good with slow decks. Go in, take it. Maybe no one's trying to get the points. Maybe you're trying to set up with a Ari or something, or even this could be good into Rumble. You're trying to just set up with as many units as possible to get those hold effects. You're just maybe trading 1/2 cost or 1 2 might, 1 3 might unit into that other battlefield, where you're slowly building up your army here, getting that blue Rumble out, getting a few mech tokens out, really stacking that might. Now your opponent's going to have to do something and respond, so you don't just continue to hold the entire game. Next we got Hall of Legends. When you conquer here, you may pay 1 to ready your legend. There's a lot of legends in this set that don't have exhaust in, but then also have exhaust if you complete a prerequisite. So could be quite interesting here with all the legends we have. Also could be quite interesting with Kai'Sa. Specifically, you get that extra rune that you don't have to recycle, that extra power cost, and she has a lot of power heavy ones. So you go in with a Kai'Sa, you have a retreat, you have something, you've already exhausted, used a Fallen Star or something this turn, you exhausted her. Now you can save that rune for next turn or during your opponent's turn to play a Hextech Death Ray or something else. So pretty cool battlefield there. Next we got Mare's Spire. While you control this battlefield, friendly repeat cost 1 rune less. So this is really diving into the repeat and reducing it. So that's actually really cool. I know there's a few mind cards that have repeat. So being able to reduce that by 1 is actually pretty good there. Especially I could see this doing really well with 2v2 as well. I said as well way too many times there. Next we got Minefield. Maybe this is a look to come that maybe Ziggs is coming. But when you conquer here, put the top 2 cards of your main deck into your trash. So it could be really well into any Jinx, anything that you're trying to just discard cards or really look at, maybe even Teemo. Excuse me there. But again, hopefully Ziggs comes out soon, because Ziggs is a really cool champion. Next we got Ornn's Forge, which, spoiler, this is probably going to be really good into Ornn. When you control this battlefield, the first friendly non-token gear played each turn costs 1 less. So yeah, working really well with the equipment, costing 1 rune less, gets you more equipment out there, works really well into Ornn, surprise surprise, so might be a staple in that deck. Next we got Power Nexus. When you hold here, you may pay 4 power to score 1 point. So this is going to work really well with Renata, especially when you're getting to that within 3 points. And I believe it's Blue Renata where you can pay to score points. You could pay essentially 8 runes in order to score 2 points, and that would win you the game. So say you're at 5, you're gaining that 2 gold gear tokens. You're now going around 1 turn, you were able to hold that, you're at 6. Now you pay, and you pay with Blue Renata. Now you win the game. So it's going to force your opponent, if they see you have this, they see your runes up, they see with blue Renata up there, they're gonna need to respond, otherwise they just lose. Next we got Ravenbloom Conservatory. When you defend here, reveal the top card of your main deck. If it's a spell, put it in your hand, otherwise recycle it. So again, this could be really well with Kai'Sa. You're trying to just get those spells, could turn the battlefield in your turn. So say you're looking for a retreat or something else, trying to save your Kai'Sa or something else. You want that. You get the draw power. If it's a spell, it goes right into your hand and you could possibly use it. Last on this page, we got Rockfall Path. Units can't be played here, so essentially you need to move the units from the base into here. Quite interesting there. Going to stop stacking. So going to stop like the Ahri, the Rumble decks, and stuff like that. Got about 5 more battlefields here. So we got Seat of Power. When you conquer here, draw 1 for each other battlefield you or your allies control. So if you control one other ally, you draw. I believe that's just going to be one other, but I gotta look into that. It's not very clear if you draw 2, so if it counts the one that you just have or not. I hope it does, because technically it should. You conquer there, you now control it, but not sure on that. If it does include this one, really strong. If not, I don't know if you're really playing this unless you're going turn 1, which surprise, everyone wants to go turn 1 essentially, so might be interesting, but would have to double check on that. Next we got Sunken Temple. When you conquer here with 1 or more mighty units, you may pay 1 rune or 1 energy to draw 1. So this is interesting. So you can, it's a draw engine, and if you're going in with mighty, like in a Fiora deck or something else, you're going to have a lot of mighty units. So pretty easy, just a simple conquer, draw a card. Next we got the Paper Tree. When you hold here, each player channels 1 rune exhausted. Interesting. So I wonder, I guess that means everyone playing. This could be one that gets rotted. But if it's everyone, kind of interesting. It's obviously best if you have it, so when you hold, you get that extra rune exhausted that turn, but we'll see. And you wouldn't be able to use it that turn anyway, because you awaken all the cards first, and then the beginning phase is when that will resolve. So I hope it's just you, because that would make it better. Otherwise, your opponent gets 1, and then they get to use it immediately next turn. So we got Treasure Hoard here. When you conquer here, you may pay 1 energy to play a Gold Gear token exhausted. So I could see this again really well with Renata, with Sivir, and Draven, anyone really trying to get those Gold Gear tokens out there. And then our last battlefield before the overnumbers, Veiled Temple. When you conquer here, you may ready a friendly gear. If it's an equipment, you may detach it. So essentially able to detach and then reattach it to another unit pretty effectively. So pretty interesting there. Probably could go good into Ornn and Jax and anyone else who's really like a weapon master and trying to get the equipment out there and move it around in order to buff up units in specific ways, or maybe trying to make that play to conquer a battlefield and stuff. So could be interesting to see, but might be very niche. All right, and now we'll go into some of the overnumbered cards. There's quite a bit here, and we got I think we have 1 more page, but that might be tokens. So happy they're reprinting seals. Overnumbered means it's going to be pretty hard to get into, but seals I think are really strong and have still untapped potential. I think it's nice to have at least 1 of each color in your deck for most decks, just because not being able to recycle that rune could swing the game in a lot of different ways. So for example, I'm right now have 1 in my Ahri deck, and I have 1 Blitzcrank, so if I'm able to top deck and hit both, now I'm able to play that Blitzcrank for free every turn, not have to recycle that rune. Pretty strong, so I can just keep over and over playing Blitzcrank, pull a unit in, kill it, etc. But this artwork looks really cool. I'm excited to see these. Hopefully I can pull a few, but there's going to be 1 Spirit Blossom skin that, surprise, surprise, I'm really going to want to pull, and that's the Ahri that we'll get to in a few. So next, this interesting that they're doing is they're reprinting a lot of units from Origins. Again, all the overnumbered skins here are fit in the Spirit Blossom skin line from the main game. Very thematic. There's also one that doesn't look that good, and I'll point it out. But overall, I think the majority of these cards look amazing. Would love to see the texturing. I know they had some on display at PAX and probably at Houston Regionals. But this one looks really cool. Vein's really cool, and I know it has some niche usage with assault, and then paying an extra rune to give it back into your hand. And then I'll just briefly touch on the signature cards here. I won't go into much detail. Next we got Aphelios. Again, this looks cool, and the background of Aphelios is he does hear, I don't remember who the woman is in relation to him, but he hears her, and that she's the one who actually helps him switch between his guns. But that one looks really cool. Can't wait to see the texture on that. And then the signature here is a little light. I wish it was a different color, but happy that it's a little bit out of the way from this. Next we got Irelia. Again, pretty cool looking card. I love the blades over there in the background. Quite cool card there. Oh, that signature, if that's how it looks like in person, that's going to be a great spot for it. I think it pops really cool there. Next we got Seal of Focus. Again, I love this artwork. I love the theme that they did for these seal overnumbered cards. Looks awesome and looks really good. And trying to see like full usage of the card to get the artwork out there. Next is going to be my personal chase card for the overnumbers, Ari. I've pulled an Ari overnumbered card myself. I did buy one from a con not too long ago, and then I was lucky enough to pull one myself, so I've now pulled all 3 of the Ari cards, minus the signature, which, let's be realistic, that's going to be insanely hard to pull. But this is going to be one of the overnumbered cards in the set that I'm going to want to pull. And if I pull the signature card, awesome. Probably just going to sell it or get rid of it. I'm not a huge proponent of the signature spells. I think they look nice half the time, but there's no reason that I want to hold on to it. I'd rather get more product or anything else that I'd want to see. But here, it's cool that it's right on the hand and the heart, but again, pretty hard to see there. Next, another one that I think looks awesome is the Bard. Looks really cool. I think the colors, the blue, the pinks, look really nice and clean, and you have the night sky in the background. Really cool looking card there. And also that signature location, also really good. Again, like the Aphelios or the Irelia, clean. The color in there pops a little bit. Actually shows the signature. Seal of Insight. I really like this with the electricity going on in the background. Again, full usage of the card for the artwork. Looks awesome, and a lot of hands in these cards too. Next we got Teemo. I think this is also gonna be a really popular card. Really cool, just chilling in the Onsen in the bath there. Really cool colors with the blues, the pinks, and some of the grays and the tans in there to make those colors really pop. And I think that's a really cool signature location right on the waterfall. Again, a little tough to see, but better than some of the other ones. Next we got Seal of Strength. I don't know if this is supposed to be Volibear or something else, but now we got a creature's hand there. But again, really cool card there. We got Set here. Nothing really crazy to say here. Again, I really like the Spirit Blossom skin. The colors just pop really cool. I see the Showstopper or the Showmaker, whatever, one of his abilities where he punches, where you kind of see a wolf or a lion there, so cool to see that. Love the unique signature spell here, or the signature here and there. That's not just like sign, I guess it's his characters or something, but really cool looking signature there. Next we got Yone. This is a great usage of the full card. Looks incredible, and then his 6-pack over there, but really cool looking card. Signature, I think that's a good spot. I think that's a good ink that they use there to get that printed on there. Makes it pop a little bit. Not as much as we saw with Irelia, but still pretty cool. Seal of Discord here. Again, nothing much to say. Love the artwork on all these seal cards. Don't have anything bad to say on them. Really hoping I can pull 1 or 2 of these. Next we got Yone. At first I thought this was from the splash art, but it doesn't look like it. But really cool looking card. Love the blue wind or whatever around his hand there. A little bird, colors pop, really cool. Don't like the signature there. Kind of takes up a little too much of the card and kind of blends in a little bit. Next we got Darius. So this is a little bit more like darker of the skin lines, but I love just the variation that they have with all these cards. So that looks really cool. And great placement for the signature. It pops with the purple in the background. Really cool. Now, when I first saw this, and as a lot of people, I thought this was Lilia. It's not. It's actually Karma. I think it's not that great, to be honest. I think this is the worst overnumbered card. So hopefully people aren't pulling this, because I would be quite disappointed if I pulled this. Especially if I pull the signature, because it doesn't look like Karma. Last we got Seal of Unity. This is the last seal that we see here, so pretty cool looking. Not too much of the hands going on there, but... in our last Spirit Blossom skin, we got Soraka. I think there's a little too much white going on the top and the bottom, but I think overall looks pretty cool. And I think that signature is in a little bad spot. I would have loved to see that black maybe in the top left, use that empty space there. Next we got the Legends. Again, my chase besides the Ari is going to be the Rumble. I will say, and I've seen a lot of criticism as well, I don't like how all these overnumbered Legends look the same. I wish they were a little bit better. There was a little bit more variety like we saw in the Origin. So a little disappointed there, but nonetheless, Rumble's going to be the one that I'm going to want to go for. Looks awesome. I love it, but I love the blue and red, and they're very thematic to what colors you are using in that deck. We got Lucian here looking pretty intimidated, and his piercing shots in the background there. We got Draven, again looking pretty medicine there with his spinning axes and stuff, so pretty cool. Voidburrow, Rek'Sai here. I like the usage of the yellow, making him, her pop a little bit more, so that's pretty cool. Ornn looking imposing as ever, just overlooking you. It's really cool to stare down there. Pretty bulky guy. He's in the Forge all day, every day. Jax, again, looks pretty cool, but pretty disappointed overall of how they compare to Origins. Next we got Aurelia here. Nothing too much more to say. Azir, this one actually looks really cool. Like, very intimidating, very kind of in your face. That would be really cool to see the texture on this card. Ezreal setting up for his I forget his ulti spell, but he's setting up for his ultimate, trying to snipe someone from across the map. Renata Glass, I don't know what's going on there with her arm, I think, but again, pretty intimidating, giving you the 1,000-yard stare right there. We got Sivir, not a huge fan. I think the arc in the face is a little off, but overall not terrible. I like the orange and purple background. The champion could have been a little bit better. And last but not least, we got Fiora here. I think this one's also pretty sick. Again, I'm biased. I'd have to say Rumble's my favorite, but I think a second would have to be Azir, Lucian, or Renata. I think those three are pretty strong looking. And then yeah, we got the mech there and the token. So yeah, that was everything. That was all the Legends, their signature spells, or gear in Ornn's case, and Draven, and then all the overnumbers that we're going to see, including the seals, the Spirit Blossom skin lines, and the overnumbered Legends. So appreciate you guys viewing in, and if you did enjoy, please give it a thumbs up and do consider subscribing. Helps a lot and means a lot to me. And hope you did enjoy. This is the last one covering all the cards in Spiritforged. The next thing I'll probably have out is going over my my take on what a Rumble deck will look like day one. Going to be tough to get the cards, but with a lot of them being in the Rumble deck list itself, going to make it pretty easy. So thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you guys.